All right, rock and roll. Here we go. The metal block. Could it be? Is it really? What episode are we even on now, guys?
I don't know.
Is it 17?
16.
17.
13.4?
13.4. Season 2, episode 7. I love it. I love it. So still going strong, loving every minute of it. Thanks everybody for being here. We appreciate you checking us out every week, or if this is your first episode, welcome. Welcome to the block. Make sure you're checking out the social media every week. It gives good hints on what we will be talking about, or maybe what we have been talking about. And there's also just some awesome metal that is discussed because news comes up all the time. We don't control when that happens. So we're out there sharing it. Brutal Brando, Scary Greg, and myself are doing our best to keep up with the big three. That's your Twitter, your Facebook, and your Instagram. So come see us.
Twitter?
What's a Twitter? The X.
Yeah.
So come see us. Come check us out. Let us know what you think. Give us some ideas. And also shoot us an email if you want. metalblocktalks@gmail.com. So, having said that, you guys know how it goes. We got Brutal Brando and we got Scary Greg with us tonight. And Scary Greg, forgive me, I forgot what your handle was because we got disconnected.
Mike Oxard.
Mike Oxard. That's right.
yeah. So it's Mike and then OXHARD, Oxard. So Mike
Oxard. Oxard.
Which sounds like Mike Oxard.
Yeah, way. So why don't you guys say hello? Greg already said hello.
What's up, blockheads? Brutal Brando here.
All right. Well, we are having some fun, and we got another great show for you today. A very, very special surprise. First, we're going to talk about the album from Last 10 Seconds of Life, and it is called No Name Graves.
Yes, sir.
And this was really a big change in pace from what we're listening to week, and it was a little refreshing at times. And I might admit that after listening to it over and over again, I think I finally got a little bit of feel of what this beatdown thing is all about.
Right.
So why don't you start, Greg? Talk a little bit about how you felt listening to the album.
Man, okay. I really enjoyed it. Last 10 Seconds of Life. I don't ever know what I should exactly call them. Are they beatdown? Are they deathcore? So I just don't know how the exact definitions. And some diehard fans of those genres are very, very intense about their definitions of it. But yeah, I think so. I mean, you can definitely hear the anger. You hear the words beatdown. I mean, that sounds pretty violent. So you can definitely hear as the anger in this album is like stepped up from what they were doing, but. I really enjoyed it. It's got a lot of groove. No Name Graves is the name of the album. I think you already said that. But it's just straight riff city, man. Really it is. And it's interesting to see Dylan, like he was telling us about, and you'll hear in the episode, talking about putting really his emphasis on it. Like the last song you said was just like, it's nothing but blast beats. It's cool to hear his death metal influence on that kind of band. And also super cool to hear the story of how they kind of revamped the band. All of a sudden it was one guy, and then they just kind of made it happen to what it is now. But it's really good. Tons of groove. I want to see it live, that's for sure. It seems like something that would be really hard hitting. I'm sure there's some sick bass drops, Zoomy. And yeah. I enjoyed it. I really like the song Broken Glass Incantation. That's kind of one of the singles I think off of it. And then I really like the way the album starts out, of All Humanity the Sum. That's really solid too. But yeah, I probably listened to it, I'd say 5 or 6 times. Just enjoyment, but also just getting ready for the review here and the interview. But let's see, it's on Unique Leader, and it's brand new. So if you guys haven't checked it out there, definitely go check out the new Last 10 Seconds of Life album. And what do you think, Brandon?
Man, I liked it. Like Zoomy said, it was a nice change of pace for what I have normally been my usual standard listening. I found myself wanting to go to one of those demolition places, like office party demo places where you can go in and just take a sledgehammer to stuff and just break things while listening to it.
I want to do that so bad.
Yeah, that's what this made me want to do. Like, you could really feel the anger in it, and I like the layering of the vocals, and they got some cool guest vocalists on here too. Nice little smorgasbord of vocalists. Like, it's pretty cool. I really liked Thirst for Extinction with the super fast blast beats at the end, and I actually really like the first track of All Humanity the Sum. I
Yep,
feel
same.
like the way they place those two songs, I don't know, it starts strong and it ends strong. Grabs your attention, pulls you in, and then lets you go with the same amount of intensity. And
Right.
it's a strong album. I really like it. Looking forward to listening to it more as time passes as well.
Yeah,
Zoomy, what'd
Breakdown
you think?
City. I'm sorry, I meant to add that real quick, man. The breakdowns, they are definitely the kings of doing some breakdowns. I
Oh yeah.
yeah, if you like breakdowns, definitely dig into this album. Sorry, but go ahead, Zimmy. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. This is real cool because I completely agree with everything you guys have said so far. What's really awesome is we have different songs that we really like on this album. We all agree that it begins strong and ends strong, though, because I'm throwing my vote in there as well. But I really loved tracks 2 and 3 a whole lot. Now, those were the two ones, Brandon, you mentioned with guest vocalists. So track 2 is the Latania Infernales, which has the Suffocation vocalist, Ricky Myers. And I really liked that one a lot. I liked how it went into their title track, No Name Graves, which has Devin Swank. We all know him, saying We Shugabog.
Yep.
So I liked how it began as well. Now, I also liked Feel My Fangs in You and Doomsday Death Trap.
Yeah.
Doomsday Death Trap, just for me, I just kept picturing like something from the Saw movie or whatever. But anyway, here I go with movies again. My bad. But,
no, it's good. I love it.
it's
I'm
just
looking
like,
forward to it each week.
ah. I just thought, oh, Doomsday Death Trap. This sounds awesome. And it was awesome. Ended strong, super, super fast blast beats. I really like also what Dylan brings to the band, drumming, bringing in a little fresh death metal taste.
Are we gonna play a song,
We can do a song. What song do we want to do?
Greg? Do you have a
Of all Humanity to Some, the one that we all like that opened the record, I would say that one would be my pick.
yeah?
All right, well, we will play Of All Humanity, the Sum.
Boom.
Awesome. On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being the least awesome and 10 being the most awesome, I give this a 9.5. Woo!
That's
Little
pretty
Harold
awesome.
and Kumar for y'all on gas station kayaking.
Which is the equivalent to a
right.
1.6 on the Angry Metal Guy review. sorry. I just had to say that.
Greg, what does your cat's dog think about that?
The good news is we do have a surprise for everybody. And we mentioned that at the beginning. And that surprise is we have Dylan here actually to do an interview with on the show today. And we're talking about Dylan Potts, the drummer for The Last 10 Seconds of Life, and also the drummer for Distention, if any of you guys are familiar with Distention. Greg, you might briefly just mention something about Distention.
Yeah, absolutely. Distention is a killer death metal band. They're kind of just straightforward death metal. It's Christian plays guitar in that band, and then also Nick from Equipoise. He was in it for a little bit, but guy named Darren Lewin, who was in the Kennedy Vale and now is in Distension. He does vocals, and it's good, man. It's just straight powerhouse death metal. They recently signed to the Artisan Era and have one album out, and are writing a little bit on a second one here. We'll hear more about that in the interview. But yeah, man, they're just a kick-ass new death metal band that everybody should go check out. Distension.
Dylan, thanks again for joining us. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm stoked to be here, dude. Stoked to be here.
Awesome.
And I appreciate y'all for having me, because I've been looking forward to it all day. So I mean, what can I say?
Sick.
The excitement on our end is beyond. I've actually been a little bit nervous, only because the excitement. The more and more we get to talk with other people and other bands, and this is one of the reasons I do it. These guys, you guys that are out there traveling around, touring around, writing new music, just keeping the thing going. It's like my heroes, and so every time I get to talk with you guys or go to one of these shows, I'm like a little fanboy a little bit, but I really enjoy those moments. The whole reason why I do every bit of this, on top of getting to hang out with my two best buddies every week. So
Dude, that's awesome. Hell yeah.
I know that we're all excited, and I know Greg's got a whole lot of stuff he wants to talk about.
I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm hanging out, dude.
Awesome. Metal Block kicking it off.
Hell
Alrighty.
yeah.
I will go ahead and take the mic, I guess. We've got Dylan Potts in the house from The Last 10 Seconds of Life.
What's good?
Yeah, buddy.
How's it going, boys?
Doing great.
Good.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm stoked to be here. Like I said, I've been looking forward to this all day. So I mean, it's rare in my normal life, outside of the band stuff and just like normal going to work stuff. It's very rare that I just get to like sit down and talk metal and music with some homies for a little bit. So I don't know. I'm stoked.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. That's sick. Well, I'll just kick it off. Let me know a little bit of your history. Where are you from? And kind of explain kind of how you got into metal to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. So I come from a small town in southern Pennsylvania, right on the Mason-Dixon line, called Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. And I mean, that's where I live now. I'm from Greencastle, but they're like Greencastle, Pennsylvania, and Waynesboro. They're like fucking spitting distance. You can spit from one town to the other. So, yeah, I'm from southern Pennsylvania. It's funny. I've been playing drums pretty much as long as I can remember, man. I got my first little toy drum kit or whatever, the little cheapo ones with the plastic heads.
Oh, yeah.
Parents get their kids. I got one of those when I was like 3. So I mean, if you really want to roll it back,
Damn.
I've been doing this for a minute, but I got into drums way before I ever got into metal. I can tell you, and this holds true today. My favorite band of all time, and I don't think it'll ever change, is Aerosmith. Their number
Awesome.
one favorite band. So my dad was like, Aerosmith was my dad's favorite band, and you can probably see how the progression went from there, because Aerosmith obviously isn't the heaviest band in the world, but they're not the softest band in the world either. And
No, I loved Aerosmith as a kid. I had that was like one of my very first tapes or CDs. Maybe it was a CD, but with the big cow udder on it, man. I thought that was so badass.
dude,
As
yeah,
a
get
kid,
a grip.
living on the edge was hard when we were kids.
100%. And it's funny because those records, basically, I mean, in my youth, were what laid the foundation for my taste in music, how I played the drums, or even getting into music at all. It was from birth. It was Aerosmith and Bon Jovi. Those were the two ones that were played in the house all the time. And I got into metal when I was like, I don't know, I couldn't have been older than like 6 or 7. There used to be this Hot Wheels game for PlayStation 1. I forget what it was called, but it was a Hot Wheels game, and it was for PlayStation 1, and it had Fuel by Metallica in it, and that was the first time I had ever heard anything like that. And it kind of withered away a little bit, and then fast forward a couple years, I'm 11, getting up for school in the morning. I don't know if you guys remember the channel Fuse from back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, okay. So in the morning on Fuse, they would do like these little half-hour music video like shows. I forget what the hell they were called, but
Yep.
I remembered hearing and seeing the video for Backcountry by Avenged Sevenfold, and I was in 5th grade, I think. I was 10 or 11, and
Right.
that I can remember very, very well. That was like the pivotal moment, right, where I was like, "Oh, okay, this is a new thing that I like a lot, and I'm gonna obsess about it forever."
Yep. Yep.
I mean, obviously that wasn't my first thought, but that led down the rabbit hole, and Avenged Sevenfold led to Trivium, and Trivium led to Dimmu Borgir, and Dimmu Borgir led to Nile, and Nile led to Hate Eternal, and blah. It just it does.
It happens quick.
It does. But yeah, my obsession started early. From the moment I knew that you could hit a drum and make some sound with it, I think there was some part of me that just must have resonated with that a lot. And then for me, drums and death metal sort of just they just sort of go hand in hand. I just put the two together in my head. So really, it's been a while, but yeah, I guess you could blame, if I had to blame anybody for my career, I'd blame Avenged Sevenfold for putting out that City of Evil record.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. It seems like everyone always remembers that defining moment that you heard really fast double bass for the first time in a song, and you were like, "What in the fuck is going on? I can't believe this is happening." And it just like for me, like I remember just it changed me. That first Slipknot album,
Dude, yeah.
I had listened to like a lot of metal. Like actually, I was super into Cradle of Filth and Typo Negative and all this, but like really what made me want to play music was I went to Edgefest when I was really young. Not to take the mic too much here, but I just remember getting there immediately early, and it was Slipknot's first. Like when they were still doing like all those small Edgefest and type like little festivals all over the country. On that very first album, they had just released it. And turning that corner and seeing Joey Jordison rip that double bass, I just in the beginning of Sick, it just changed me. So yeah, I totally understand it. Boy, it happens quick because all of a sudden I was listening to Deicide.
Well, it does. That's just the thing. I mean, I could honestly, I could go on for hours and hours about how many drummers and bands have influenced my playing and everything. I mean,
well, that actually is my next question. Who are your influences in the drums? And I guess musically, like band wise, but if there's any certain drummers you want to say, that'd be super sick to hear about.
Well, I mean, there's a lot, right? So obviously, I mentioned a little bit ago Aerosmith and Bon Jovi. So from a young age, Joey Kramer from Aerosmith is a big one. Tico Torres from Bon Jovi, another huge one. But when it comes to the metal stuff, which is what most people listening to this are going to be interested in hearing, probably there's a lot. So probably like when it comes to the super heavy stuff, the stuff that I love the most is like the most pissed death metal in my head. So stuff like Hate Eternal, stuff like stuff like Morbid Angel, that stuff. Nile, another big one. Basically, if the drums, like you said earlier, Greg, it's like if the drums are super fast and almost going so fast that it sounds like the double kick is one solid note, that's the stuff I like.
right.
So there's Hate Eternal, there's Nile. Another big one for me when I was a kid was Through the Eyes of the Dead. And I still love them. We're playing a fest with them in a week and a half, I think, which I'm super stoked about. I've never seen them before.
That's so sick. Oh, really, dude?
Awesome.
Yeah, I know. Steven, the guitarist, Steven Thunderbug, he's from Wretched. He's the homie, and he's a badass dude and really, really good guitarist. I love Through the Eyes of the Dead.
Super nice guy. I fucking twisted. I fucked up my knee real bad one show when I was in Rivers back in the day. and because I just ate shit on asphalt, and we stayed the night at his place because we were down there. He was like getting me ice for my knee and shit. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, he's super cool, dude. I'm jealous of that. That'll be fun. Are you guys playing the show?
Yeah, we're playing. I think it's Aurafest, I believe. Aurafest in Georgia.
Cool.
I think Zayo's headlining, and it's us. At least the day that we're playing, Zayo's headlining us, and then right before us, it's Through the Eyes. There's a lot of sick bands actually that day. It's just going to be a homie fest, pretty much.
That sounds ridiculous.
Zayo, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, I was actually really stoked to hear about that because we're doing we're playing the fest, and then we have one show after that in somewhere in North Carolina. The place is called Hangar 1819 or something like that. But it's we're doing 2 shows with Zayo, and I think that'll be pretty fun. They should get rowdy.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, like a resurgence. I don't think they ever left, but man, that's cool to see them kicking ass still.
Yeah, they're going to be rowdy for sure.
Absolutely. No. You think you got anybody else on the influences there? You think you got it pretty much covered?
I mean,
you probably go on for hours.
Yeah, I let me put it this way, because like you said, I could go on for hours. So I'll boil it down to like the biggest for me. Joey Jordison is probably right up there at the top. George Colias, Shannon Lucas, Zach Gibson, all dudes like Zach.
Hell yeah, Zach Gibson's badass.
Yeah, he played on Miasma from Black Dahlia. Shannon played on, obviously Nocturnal, Deflorate, and The Ritual, and Alan too. Like I've loved Black Dahlia since I was a wee lad as well. So
absolutely.
But if I had to boil it down, probably them. Joey Kramer too. But if it's fast, that's really where my heart is.
Yeah, hell yeah. So you said from Pennsylvania, right?
That's correct.
How's your local scene up there? How did you kind of get immersed into actually playing all these shows and connecting in the metal scene?
Well, there isn't really in Southern Pennsylvania where we're at here. It's really sort of destitute for that kind of thing. There is a small scene around here, but it's mostly like the dad rock cover bands kind of stuff. Not knocking it. I love dad rock, and I'd play a dad rock cover band in a fucking second. But that's kind of like that's the scene around here. There's not much original music. I mean, Kix was from here, Hagerstown. That's right across or right down there, or 5 minutes away from me. Poison's from right up the road in Mechanicsburg. There's things around, but there's not really an extreme metal scene where I'm from. For that, you have to go to like Baltimore, Frederick, DC, that area. I don't know. It's funny. I got in my first band ever because I was going to a drum lesson, and they had this thing on the wall, like take a number here, the thing with like the serrated or the piece of paper with the serrated bottom,
pull tab
off the number. Yeah. And it was like looking for drummer, and it had like, on there needs to be able to play double bass and do blast beats and blah, 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 blah. I was like 15 or some shit. And my grandmother saw it, and she was like, you need to do this. And I was like, I wasn't gonna. I was like, I was, I don't know, maybe already jaded when I was 15. I don't know. But I was like,
quick.
Yeah, it does. But no, I was like, my grandmother really pushed me to message those guys. And that, I started in my first little death metal band a long time ago. And then that progressed into, a couple other bands with that same group of people. And then, how it naturally progresses. I meet some more people, jam with them. And what really landed me, my first, like, I guess you could say, decent sized gig with Rivers of Nile was I did a video on Facebook, probably, I think this was in like 2013 or 2014. It was just a really bad phone audio quality cover of Cerebral Hybridization from Fallujah. I posted that, and then that, that led to them, which led to all the other stuff, I guess. It's funny how when you try and trace it back, you can remember these small steps that led you to where you currently are. It's interesting.
Absolutely.
Hey, you know what? I gotta say something real quick. Way to go, Grandma.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
she's been a huge supporter from day one. She's as real as it gets.
Way cool,
That's awesome.
man. I actually have a little bit, my side of my starting story is with my grandparents too. They bought me my first electric bass guitar. They weren't, promoting me. Yeah. They weren't promoting me to go play death metal just yet, but they were definitely, Yeah, they were supporting the cause overall.
That
And little did they know.
I honestly got to say, like, I know a lot of people don't have the privilege and the good fortune to have family members doing what we do that are as supportive as I've had, and that's just the thing. Like, that's been super huge to me. Like, my family they've known since I was a wee lad that this is what I was going to end up doing in one shape or form, because I've played drums forever. It was just it was very nice, my like we can you imagine, let me put it to you this way. Can you imagine living in a house with somebody who was 4 years old up until age 18, just beating the shit out of a kid constantly? Like, and my parents, like, they
Yeah.
didn't care too much. They set a time limit. They were like, look, after 7 o'clock, you're done. But aside from that, they let me do whatever, and they always let me play. They let my buddies come over and jam and practice, and it was huge, actually.
Oh yeah, make or break,
That's
man. That's
awesome.
awesome.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
and I think it helped to, like, living. I shouldn't say in the middle of nowhere. It's really not the middle of nowhere, because there's obviously towns and shit around. It's not like I'm out in the sticks, but comparatively speaking, the closest city we got's like Harrisburg and DC, and so we're kind of an hour away from all of that. So
Right.
neighbors and stuff, you always, at least where I grew up and where I still am, your neighbors. Your neighbors are cool. Like, my neighbors were always cool with me playing drums. They never bitched about it once, which was awesome.
Yeah, that's huge. That's
Right.
huge. That's huge.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the support
I
network
remember
is very cool.
my mom was super cool about that. She let me jam and all that, but once it got late enough and I'd go out, we had like a side garage and I had probably 80-year-old neighbors. And back, like, now looking at it, I'm like, I was such a little dickhead. I can't believe I was doing that. I mean, we would have, we would jam like full on death metal, 16 or 17-year-old death metal. But man, it was so evil what I did to those people. But anyways, yeah, cool mom. My mom was cool as hell about it.
Shout out to mom.
Yeah, shout out mom. So you said Rivers. I was going to ask you about that next. Actually, that's like you read my mind. But
Good segue,
how'd
huh?
you end up? Yeah, you already answered my question of how'd you end up getting hooked up with the Rivers and Nile gig. But so did you do like a full tour with them, or how did that go?
So yeah, I did that video, that Fallujah video, and I posted that online, just, like most musicians do, just like you take something that looks and sounds cool and it's good and you're whatever. So you throw it online and don't really think much of it. And then, I don't know, maybe a year or so later, I got a message completely out of the blue from Alan, who was their old drummer. And he messaged me, and he was pretty upfront. He was just like, hey, I'm Alan. I play drums for Rivers of Nile. Um, I have to sit out this next tour. We're looking for a guy to replace me for said tour, and it looks like you can play these tempos and play death metal and blah blah blah. And would you want to do it? Come hang out with the guys, vibe out, see how it's feeling, and then go from there. And I was like, yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
because, like, it's funny, my old band had played a show opening for them. It was the Reading Rainbow tour, so it was them and Black Crown Initiate, and it was up in Harrisburg. Well,
Mm-hmm.
not technically Harrisburg, but close enough. It's Lemoyne, at this place called the Champ. It was under like this railroad track, really fucking cool place. But regardless,
That's sick.
I played a show there with them, and then they hit me up because of the video. We went up and hung out. I joined as a full-time member for it was a year. It wasn't
Oh,
long.
you were? I didn't realize you were full time.
Yeah, it was like a year and some change. It was cool. It gave me a lot of experience. Like, we did 4 tours. It gave me
Oh,
experience.
sick.
Like, we did, the first one I ever did was Us and Hate Eternal, which was obviously a dream come true, because
Oh, fuck
I
yeah.
spoke about how much I love them. And then we did, a little headliner, another tour with Beyond Creation, and then we did Europe with Obscura. And then I think I did like one show after that whenever we came home. But yeah, it was awesome, dude. It was
Yeah.
awesome. It was a good time. And that sort of, like we were talking about earlier, those connections you make with people, that sort of led to, the next thing, and getting various session gigs. And, we'll get into that whenever you ask about, the last 10 stuff, but it all blends together, sort of. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it all kind of like stepping stones, like you said. It's like those exact moments and decisions you make really do impact. I
And
mean,
doors,
that's
open doors, open doors.
That's
absolutely.
100%. 100%.
Well, I mean, shit, this is kind of working out perfectly. Everything's segueing right into the next question. So let's hear how you ended up getting hooked up with the last 10 seconds of life. And I do want to talk about distension. So if you,
Of
whichever
course.
you think of the timeline would go better, we can, that's your call, but I'm
I
definitely
mean, hey,
eager to hear about both.
I'll talk about both of them. I'll do last 10 first because I think more people will know who that is. So the way I got in with last 10 is we're gonna have to rewind a little bit. In early 2020, January 2020, I think. I did a tour filling in playing drums with a band called Visceral Disgorge. And
Oh, absolutely. I remember when you did that.
yeah, dude, that tour was sick. It was
Yeah,
on a
they're
tour with
sick.
Ingested, and it was insanely sick. Yeah, but Last 10 was on that tour. They were, I want to say, direct support to Ingested, I believe, or no,
Right.
Visceral Disgorge was. They were on right before us. Anyway, obviously as these things go on tour, you see people every day. You hang out with people. I had already known their drummer Steven for a minute, and we were boys, so like we kicked it off, and everybody in Last 10 at that time with the old lineup was super chill. So we all just, we'd hang out every day. Back when I was, still drinking, we'd sink beers, we'd, party, we'd do whatever, and it was a good time. It was a good tour. And when that tour was over, I still, kept up with Wyatt. Anytime Last 10 would come through, like the Frederick, which is, like I mentioned a bit ago, that's like the closest venue really to us. Anytime Last 10 would come through Frederick, I would be there, and my buddy Christian would be there with me. So I just kept up with Wyatt over the years because he was my friend. And then, when everything happened, I guess it'd be 2 years now. Whenever the lineup change happened, and the people left, and people tried to make it seem like everybody quit at once, but that wasn't really the case. But it's okay. I'm not going to go into too much depth on that. But regardless, I messaged Wyatt after I saw, everybody posting that Last 10 had basically disbanded. Everybody except for Wyatt had quit, this, that, or the other. So I messaged Wyatt right away. This is maybe a day or two after. It couldn't have been much longer than a day or two. I messaged him on Snapchat, and I was like, hey, I know you guys got some shows coming up. If you need a guy to fill in on drums, I'll do it. Don't worry about it. Like, you're my boy.
Yeah.
I'll do it. And he was like, hell yeah, that's awesome. And we talked on the phone a little bit. At the time, there was a couple shows coming up. I think something with Hatebreed in Harrisburg that ended up falling through. But there was a couple things that were on the docket that ended up falling through. But regardless, they needed a drummer because they thought they were going to be doing these things. And then that just ended up turning into, why don't you just be the drummer? And I was like, okay, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And they had already had the bass player Andrew because he filled in on a tour they did with Cattle Decapitation. I think maybe 3 years ago, something like that. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
they did a tour with Cattle Decap, and Andrew was playing bass for him then, and so he just stayed. And then we found Tyler. Our singer Tyler was in a band called Promise Breaker from right up the road. I mean, he's literally well, I shouldn't say he's that close, but he's like a half hour up 81 from me. It's not that far. So
Cool.
we found him, and then we got this lineup going. And like, I might be a little biased because I'm part of this lineup, but I gotta say, this lineup feels pretty good. Like, just
Yeah.
vibes
Hell yeah.
alone, like we're not like screaming at each other. We're not like, it's just good vibes. Like, we're all level-headed adults, and it's nice.
Yeah, it's like not doesn't feel like just a job or something. Like you're not, you actually enjoy doing it and being in a van with these people for weeks on end on the road.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot to be said for just just getting along with people. Like, obviously, being in a band can be pretty stressful, especially whenever you're on tour for, a month or two at a time, whatever it is. Regardless of how well, you think somebody, you don't know them that well until you live with them for a month or two. And these guys are like, I don't know, they're good ass dudes. When you really boil it down, they're all just good people. I trust them all. The music we're creating now is a little bit more angry than I guess some of the stuff Last 10's done in like the last 6-7 years. And I think that just has a lot to do with bringing in new influences, right?
Right.
There's that one track on the record. It's the last song, Thirst for Extinction. That's like, that's like the one song on that record that Wyatt was like, yeah, fine, just blast the whole thing. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, dude, it's sick. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, and that's it kind of I wanted to ask you that too. I mean, since you're straight more death metal, like you said, Hate Eternal, Nile and everything, it's kind of like, do you feel like you bring kind of a new element to the last 10 seconds of life's sound? It's
I
cool to see your death metal influence kind of come in on the band, in my opinion.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that, because that's sort of what I'm going for. Obviously, whenever you join a band and they have songs in the past that are like, I don't want to say hits, but you know what I mean, like popular songs. Obviously, for certain things, I want to keep it as true to the original as possible. Or, I'm not going to like note for note it, but I try and keep it as true to what the original drummer had as possible. But
Right.
whenever we're writing this new stuff, like this record, the EP we did a couple years ago, Disquisition, any chance I get to throw a little blast here, a little 250 BPM 16s here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, you're double bass, and sometimes you'll all of a sudden it's like out of nowhere. It's badass, but it fits so well.
Well, thank you. I really do appreciate that. I try to, I try to stay true to what Last 10 is as a band. And I mean, Last 10 started as a beatdown band, a down tempo beatdown band. And we still have that spirit, but there are certain, spots where Wyatt will allow me to unleash it a little bit, and where, there'll be certain parts where I don't. Like, there's a good chunk of the album where it's not really fast stuff. I mean, if I'm sure if you've listened to it, it's mostly grooving. But
yeah,
that leads me on to sort of Distension a little bit, where Distension, my other band, is just, I mean, I've seen it called a million different things. We just call it like it's just a death metal band to us. Like, it's not really anything. We don't really consider ourselves technical death metal. We don't really we're just a death metal band. But that's with my buddy Christian, who I mentioned a little bit ago, who he was in bands with me for years. And literally Distension started because him and I, we got together and we were just like hanging out in his house, just smoking some weed. And we were like, hey, let's just start a band that's like heavy and fast. And like, I mean, because there was a lot of stuff that was going on in the time in metal that we weren't really vibing with. And we just wanted to do something. We wanted to write a record that is something that we would listen to, if that makes sense. We wanted to do something exactly the way we wanted it. And that's kind of how that whole thing started. And then, we got our buddy Nick from Equipoise on it. And it was awesome. Yeah, that was sick. I'm still really proud of that record, actually.
Dude, it's a kick-ass
I got
album.
a question. Whose idea was it to throw in that Boomhauer sample?
That was all Christian, man. That was all Christian. You know what's funny about that is
That's awesome.
There's this thing called the Roll and Go mixer, and you can just plug it into shit. It'll like capture audio. It's basically like a little mini capture card, right? He plugs whenever he sends me the demo for that song, Toxic Speculation, he sends it to me. I wasn't expecting that sample. And then I just hear, man. And then I was like,
meaning of life, man.
I was like, what the fuck is this? And he was like, dude, I literally recorded it off of my TV. And I was like, okay,
that's so good.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've got a chuckle when that came on. I started laughing in my truck on the way home. I thought it was great.
I'm glad you like it. There's a couple little things in there. If you listen to the last song on the record, Nothing Changes, and you let it ring out all the way to the end, you'll hear Christian's cat meow right at the end of the record.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Cool. Yeah,
that's a damn good album. I really like it. I would call it straightforward death metal too. Like, that's the best way to say it. I mean, there's some technical stuff to it for sure, some elements, but I mean, it's just like straight in your face, fucking blasting death metal is what I would call it. Darren, I dig Darren's vocals a lot. I enjoyed, him always in the Kennedy Vale. I got to see him live a couple times with them. He's the homie for sure. I drank a lot of milk in my day with Darren. Shout out to Darren. drink milk. I know he'll get that. But anyways,
Darren's kidney stones.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you did some touring with the Kennedy Vale, didn't you, in Canada?
I did, yeah, back in 2018.
That's right. Darren was in it at the time, right? Not Monty.
That's correct. Yep, it was Darren.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome tour. That was super fun.
Who was that with? Was Visceral on that one too? I can't remember why. I feel like they were.
No, it was us. Well, us is in the Kennedy Vale. Sarah Longfield, First Fragment.
That's right.
And First Fragment and Archspire. It was their tech track.
That's sick.
That's awesome.
That is a ridiculous tour, man. Wow. How long was that?
I want to say it was like 3.5 weeks. something like that. We went from the west coast of Canada all the way over to Halifax. We didn't go to Newfoundland because that's fucking, I don't know, I guess just way up there or some shit. But we
Right.
did all the
Yeah.
way from Vancouver over to Halifax and fucking everywhere in between. It was really cool. I had been to Canada before, but I hadn't seen it on that, I didn't spend a month there like that. I didn't see it on that grand scale. Canada's a beautiful place.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I've been a few times.
It's on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to make it up to your great white north there, Brando.
Oh my
Yeah, I
gosh.
do.
Yeah. I still say to this day, like, I I still think the most beautiful like place that I've ever seen was the Canadian Rockies up in like Banff National Park. It was unreal.
I bet. I've heard amazing things about that. Obviously, Banff is
I
supposed
would
to be
love to
crazy.
I would love to take mushrooms and sit there and just stare at it.
Yeah, no shit. That's on the old bucket list there. I didn't mean to. Sorry, I didn't mean. My ADD kicked in. And I thought
No,
about
you're good,
Darren,
dog.
and then I thought about the Kennedy Vale. What else did you want to say? Talk about Distension. You guys have any more plans? And then I know I've seen Christian post a few things about maybe a new album he's writing.
Yeah, so we don't have anything as far as like a new album. Obviously, we're going to at some point, but we don't have like a timeline on that or anything right now. We're just kind of the way Christian I've always described him this way to people, and that's why I love him so much. Christian is the type of guy that if you put a guitar in his hands and a bong right next to him with maybe an ounce of weed and a week of time, he will shit out an album like it is
Hell
nothing.
yeah!
That dude, you put marijuana into his body and it comes out as fucking riffs. It doesn't make sense to me. So he just
my kind of guy.
that's right, dude. So yeah, he's been writing constantly. I mean, he never really stopped even after we got
Sick.
the first record done. But we're just kind of sitting on some stuff. I mean, we played one show. I think it was December 3rd in our hometown, Hagerstown, and it was awesome. There was a lot of people there. It was really fun. But as far as touring goes, we'd like to get to that at some point. But just we have we all have different obligations and things like Christian plays in Visceral Disgorge. He's their bassist, and
Is he joined as a member now?
like I shouldn't say it's all but they just haven't officially announced him or anything.
Yeah,
but,
right.
I mean, I'm
Eventually, it probably will be. There you go.
more than likely, yeah. But yeah, he's got that. I got the Last 10 stuff. Preston, our other guitar player, we all have things going on. It's sort of like we are absolutely going to put out new music because we really care about that project a lot. So yeah,
Yeah.
we'll definitely get to it at some point or another.
And you guys are on the Artisan era, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. That's such a sick label. Malcolm does such a good job with that.
Oh yeah.
I guess Malcolm and his wife, huh?
Yeah, they're both awesome. She's our booking agent too with Continental. They're awesome.
Oh yeah. So she works with Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, man. They kill it, dude. They do such a damn good job. They're responsible for so many of the sickest tours. Kudos to Continental for sure.
Yeah, they're sick. They're sick.
Let's get into gear. What do you play? What kind of drums do you play? Let's hear about some drums and cymbals because I want to talk a little bit after that about like your writing process and let's hear about your kit first. What are you rocking?
Well, I have a couple kits, but the one I use most commonly is my Thomas Star Classic. It's a walnut birch. I love that kit. I beat the hell out of it, and I've taken it all across the country, and it's been really good to me. So I use Tama drums, but funny enough, I still use my I have a Joey Jordison Pearl snare, and I still use that. I got that in like 2006, but
Dude,
I
that's
use
the
that
sickest snare in the world. Our old drummer had it. I grew up with him, but he got it. We were young, and he rocked that thing. He still plays to this day. He's in some local bands here in Tulsa, and that Joey Jordison snare, man, will never be beat.
No, it never, absolutely not. It's so loud, and it's just the perfect tone for what I want in a snare. It's like it's not all ping, but it's pretty damn close, and you can really control it. I love that thing. It's funny. I used that on the Last 10 record that we just put out, and it's like
Awesome. I'm
pretty sure he might have blended it with something, but I'm pretty sure that snare on that record is very real. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I use my Star Classic kit. I use the Joey snare and cymbals. It's just an amalgamation of different shit. I use like Meinl, Sabian. I have a Peisty Ride that I use sometimes. I have a whole collection of things, but my favorite cymbals are Sabian. I'm definitely a Sabian boy.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
yeah,
I don't know why. I thought you were just going to say Meinl. Everybody seems to be Meinl.
yeah. I mean, Meinl's cool. Meinl's definitely cool. They got, I use their one ride, a big ass Mega Bell. I use that, and I use some Meinl hats every once in a while. But there's just something about Sabian crashes that I just love. They're like a lot of Meinl crashes are good, and they do have really good sounding ones that are bright sort of sounding, but I like cymbals that are like really explosive and loud. And Sabian just seems to have that more than any other, aside from Zildjian. I like
Awesome.
Zildjians too. It's they're all so expensive. I've used Wuhan
Yeah.
crashes that sound just as good.
Right.
It's
Absolutely.
it's all preference. I'll play anything, honestly. If it sounds good, I'll play it.
Yeah, totally. What are you rocking on the feet? What kind of pedal?
I use Trick Bigfoots, the Pro 1Vs. Those
Sweet,
things
sick.
are sick. For the longest time, I used Axis, and Axis were cool. Axis were definitely cool, but I don't know why. Just on a whim, I wanted a pair of Tricks, and I had been talking about it. And for whatever reason, like I was telling you, my mom and my family are incredibly sick. My mom literally out of nowhere was like, "Hey, I got you those pedals you wanted," and I was like, "Huh?" They're like, "Huh?" And she's like, "Yeah, Trick Bigfoots. I got them for you." And I was like, "Thanks."
Okay.
Yeah, she got me a pair of, and dude, I've used them ever since I got them. I've used them. This was like 3 years ago, and I, knock on wood, I've never had a mechanical failure with them. I mean, they've been amazing.
Yeah, sick, dude. I've actually never played those. I have a Axis. I just have an electric kit in my house. I've been playing drums, just kind of like I don't play enough. I should play a lot more. I can be a lot better than I am. But I've got Axis. I like them, but honestly, I think I liked my Iron Cobra that I had before it more. But
Yeah, I used Iron Cobras back in the day too. It like I said, it all really does come down to preference. I think for what I need in a pedal, they just work. The Tricks just work the best because like I like to get a lot of power, but I also need to be able to get a lot of speed, for a lot of the stuff I play. And I just, with the direct drive and with the settings that the Trick pedals have, I just feel it's a little easier for me to kind of do what I need to do on them. You know what I mean?
yeah, your pedals obviously take a beating. I just saw that video of your spaghetti leg swivel going on, and you're fucking all over, dude. Your knees. I don't know how your knees can take that, but do you always do swivels and singles, or you do ever do doubles?
Yeah, I do doubles too every once in a while. It's like there's certain parts that call for one versus the other. Like that big long section, I like doing the one you're referring to, an Annihilation Phenomena. It's a long section of 16ths at 265 BPM, and it's a long stretch where I just do singles on the feet, just and I like doing that with singles just because of the way I'm doing it on the China on the right side, and it just kind of my balance feels a little better that way
Right, right.
as opposed to heel toe. But we have a song as well that's called Dreams of Extermination. That's at 300 BPM, and there's no way in hell I'm doing that with singles. So I do doubles for that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, and accordingly.
yeah, definitely. It's I do both. I saw Trey from Fetus doing both like a long time ago, like at least it had to have been over 10 years ago. I saw a video of him on Sick Drummer or Drummers from Hell or something like that, and he was doing both. And I was like, wow, I've never seen somebody do both. It's usually either you do swivel or you do singles or you do doubles. That's it. There's usually not crossover, at least in my
Right,
experience.
right.
But he was the first guy I ever saw doing both, and I was like, that's fucking awesome. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, I think you and Gabe are maybe like the only people that are really seeing like switching it up, like for different parts and actual like same type material. That's a trip. I before I forget, I want to ask about your writing process and like how you with the guys in the last 10 seconds of life. Are you close to them at all, or are you mostly doing stuff online and sending files back and forth and that kind of stuff? Or are you actually able to jam in person? I'd imagine you're able to jam with Distention in person, right?
That's correct. Yeah, we do with Last Time as well. It just makes it a little more complicated because we have our guys are all over the place. Like I said earlier, me and Tyler are in southern Pennsylvania, but then you have Wyatt who lives in Iowa and Andrew, our bass player, who lives in Florida. So it makes it a little harder to get together. But
Right.
for this last record, whenever we came together to write it, there was 2 different weekends where three of us got together, everybody except for Wyatt, because like I said, he lives the furthest away. We got together and we spent 2 weekends sort of just we think of a riff, record it real quick, throw drums on it real quick, and we would do like, 10, 15 different riffs like that. And we weren't trying to do so much getting together to write cohesive songs as we were getting together to try and, oh, this riff sounds cool, let's do something with that. Oh, this sounds cool, let's do, you know what I mean? Piecing stuff just so we have stuff to grab from. So it was nice to be able to get together with the guys and do it that way. Because, like you were mentioning earlier, a lot of the time it is just one person or two people across the country or, writing stuff online and just sending it to the rest of the band. And it's like, learn this is what it is. Well, there's a little bit of that with us for sure because of the, how far we all live apart. But we did manage to get together those couple times and brainstorm some stuff that did end up on the album. So we were, that was nice. That was very nice.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be, the feeling of organic jamming, I guess, sitting around and just kick it. Yeah, it's definitely got to be a little different than just getting a clip and being like, learn this exact thing that I taught you. So,
yeah. Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, I don't mind doing that either. There's in my session work that I've done with various bands, it's been learn this and, play it live for 30 nights straight. That's different though. When it comes to stuff that we're actually getting together to write, I like to have a decent bit of say in what my drum parts are going to be. I mean, Wyatt'll send something with, programmed drums on it, of course, because that's, how it has to be done because of our location. But I take a lot of creative liberties with those programmed drums that he sends. Like, he'll send something,
sure.
He'll send like an outline basically, and it's my job to add the color.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That is.
Yeah. And it's the colors where all the cool stuff lies anyway. So I
that's all the flavor.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Things like fills and stuff like that are where I really get to sort of, have my moments.
Yeah, totally. And I know I've seen videos on Facebook of you and Christian jamming for sure. So do you guys live in the same town?
Christian lives in Hagerstown, which is, I think he's like 20 minutes away from me. So we were in hanging out, getting together, jamming distance.
Sick. And him being a encyclopedia of riffs, that's got to be pretty cool to actually sit there and chill, smoke. And
that's a really good way to put
music.
it. That's exactly what he is. He is an encyclopedia of riffs, 100%. Yeah, it's nice being able to, and like he has an E-kit at his house, so like anytime we go over there and hang out, we just get baked, and he'll fucking start, dicking around on the guitar, and I'll get behind his E-kit, and we'll, make something out of nothing, or just, we'll just jam something. Maybe it ends up being something, maybe not, whatever, doesn't matter. Those are the kind of vibes.
Yeah, but that's a hell of a way to spend a day,
Yeah, exactly. Just hanging out, getting baked,
keep
playing
something
music.
out of it.
It's
so
fun.
be it, but it's still metal.
Exactly.
All right, I gotta go. Well, here, if you have any band that you could tour with, who would it be? Like a band that you could hop on the road, playing with last 10, but any band out there that you could open up for?
Oh, Metallica, easy.
Oh, boom, easy.
Metallica, easy.
That's a good answer.
Greatest metal band to ever walk the face of the planet. I'll take that easy.
Hell yeah, because I mean, you do that, and you're catapulting yourself off into the next realm.
Yeah, and like, look, I don't stand for Lars' hatred. I love Metallica. I'll love that band forever. So if for whatever reason, if Metallica's listening, last 10, big fans, take us out, bro.
Boom. You hear that, Lars?
They took out Gojira. I mean, that's not too far off, right?
Dude, I saw 200 Stab Wounds opened up a show for them in Texas.
What?
Yeah, I swear. It was random as hell. All of a sudden, their big yellow flyer, it was just like one date that they had like different openers kind of opening up on this 3-day, looked like maybe 3 or 4 day Texas show they had. And yeah, one day it was 200 Stab Wounds. It was probably like 6 months ago.
That is fucking insane. I had no idea. Well, hey, even more reason. Lars, holla at your boy.
There you go. Boom, boom, boom. That's hilarious. Any shows that you want to attend just as a music fan? Any tours you're going to catch anytime this year?
Well, I think I could be wrong, but not too long ago, I thought I saw that Vitriol was going to be coming around, and that band is my biggest hope for death metal. So if they ever come around, I will always go. I love that.
Yeah,
band.
They're going to be on tour with Rivers and Cal Decap on that Chaos and Carnage.
Yes, it'll be nice to. Yeah, I'll definitely go to that because it'll be nice to hang out with Brody and bullshit again.
Yep, that's kind of my thought on. I'm going to go down to Dallas and catch that. I think I'm gonna if Zoomy here can if we can both line it up, I'm gonna drive. I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, so I can drive and swing out of my way a little bit and pick Zoomy up on the way. Maybe we could rock that in Dallas. I just got to see Vitriol live. It's kind of
Yeah, I haven't seen them yet, and like ever since they got Matt Kilner, who's just
Dude,
that guy is
he's fucking
fucking
insane.
amazing.
I
Like
know.
so fucking good. So that like I already love Vitriol, but when they got him, that like fucking skyrocket, and that new record is perfect. Everything. I love that band.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
So
They've had
that's I
some
suppose
beast
that's
mode
the answer.
drummers.
Dude, yeah,
They
I know.
got
They had him, they had Chasen.
Chasen and they had Pierce, fill in for
Yes.
him on tour, dude. It's fucking
Just
ridiculous.
that band has been sort of like Abigail Williams, I guess, in a certain way, just a revolving door of
Yep.
fucking amazing drummers.
Just powerhouses. I know. Abigail Williams, the roster of drummers they've had is like fucking second to none. I just saw Ken post the list of, his drummers probably a month ago on Facebook, and the
Yeah,
list.
yeah.
And once you see it all spelled out, it's like, holy shit.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It really is. Yeah, I that's definitely gonna be one of my albums for the year that I'm still like breaking it down and listening to it still. I've listened to it probably 10 times all the way through, but there's so much going on. I just keep having to take it in. But that's a good question I want to ask you as well that Brandon came up with. What was your album of the year that you most would say for 2023, and what releases so far are you stoked on for this year?
That's a hard one to answer because it's rare. This is going to sound terrible coming from a musician, but it's rare that I really seek out new music. But I can tell you this, my number one listen to record, EP, whatever, from last year was Slamaholics Volume 2 from Peeling Flesh. I listened
Dude, hell
to that
yeah.
like on some fucking Okay Boys. Like I listened to that nonstop. I love that band.
Yeah. Shut up, Peeling Flesh.
Nice.
And I guess my answer for something that I'm looking forward to is I believe they're putting out, at least they finished a record. I don't know if that's set to come out this year. I assume it is. But if it is, that's what I'm most hyped for. That band is, they're number one. They're our homies. Like in Last 10, we hung out with them on a couple dates. Our tours crossed over in, when was it? October or whenever. And we played a couple shows with them, hung out, vibed out, all good people, smoked a shitload of weed with them. Fucking listen to them play insanely sick music. It was such a good time. So,
hell yeah.
favorite album was Peeling Flesh. Album I'm looking forward to, Peeling Flesh.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'll put it out soon. Michael's always cranking shit out. I mean, he records it all there at his house.
Yeah.
He's got that Slamasian recordings.
An
Yeah, he is,
wizard.
dude. He's a powerhouse of just metal and content. And I mean, he was in a band before that, and even he didn't, obviously didn't blow up and all that. But that dude is so hardworking. I mean, I'm not close to them, I've done photography for his old band a few times. He wouldn't recognize me, but I've always admired his drive, dude. Because I mean, you could tell he was pushing that older band he was in so hard, and then they broke up, yada yada. And then Peeling Flesh formed. He dealt with all the bullshit and Strangled. I'm sure you know about all that mess.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, and those guys that went and formed that band at Orphan, and the whole stories about them, completely screw Michael over. But I mean, that would have been heartbreaking because Strangled had like a diehard fan base.
Yeah,
I mean, they
did.
still are to this day. So to see him turn around and form Peeling Flesh and be kicking as much ass as they are, they're on Unique Leader as well with you guys, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, so
Label
sick. It's
mates,
well deserved.
fucking homies.
They fucking work their ass off. I need to introduce myself to Michael and
he's good.
Get him on the podcast.
They're all good people. D would be another they're all sick to have on. Like they're all
Awesome.
so sick. Joey's like all of them. I love all of them. They're all such fucking good people.
Hell yeah, we'll definitely have to remember that.
Team PF.
All day long. OKC. 405.
405.
That'd be cool to see a last 10 seconds of live Peeling Flesh tour.
Hey, I mean, I'm not going to say that we haven't talked about it a bunch. So, I'm not going to say, we don't have anything in the works right now, but at some point in the future, that's not a ridiculous
thing. May happen.
That's not a ridiculous thing to assume that could happen at some point.
Right. Well, speaking of tours, you got any plans for? I know you said the Distention might tour, but it's everybody's so busy and all that. Any new tour plans? I looked on Last 10 Seconds of Life. I didn't see any tours right now. I saw you guys at a couple shows. You guys got anything in the oven for 24 on shows?
Yeah, so we're we don't have anything announced aside from the festival and like the other show right after that next week or whenever that is in a few weeks. But as far as like tours or anything goes, we really don't have anything on the docket right now. We're just kind of we're keeping our options open. We're definitely going to have something for the summer, I'd say, like a tour of one type or another. It's just a matter of logistics, I guess. It's a matter of a bunch of annoying touring shit that I don't even dip my face into because it would make me have an aneurysm.
Yeah. Too many logistics.
Yeah, I'm not good with that shit. Like, you tell me to show up and play some drums, I'll do that. You tell me to manage a band, I'll be like,
Dude, I totally hear that. Make Continental handle that and stuff.
yeah. Somebody else can deal with that. Somebody else. Our manager and our booking agent Travis through Forthright. He deals with all of that stuff. He's the nicest dude. He puts up with our stupid dumbass shenanigans, and he's a great guy. And plus, the first time I ever met him, he was wearing a Sounding the Seventh trumpet shirt. So that immediately made me be like, yeah, this guy's sick.
Hell yeah. Brandon or Zoomy, did you guys have anything else that you'd want to add or ask Dylan while we got him on the horn?
Brando?
Nah, I don't, man. I've just been enjoying and listening to him talk.
Yeah.
Taking it all
Likewise. I might need a little help with the Clearly Canadian commercial though. So if Dylan, if you could give me a theme.
I know. Tropical island on the beach with a mojito type shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
I do too.
Like, you know,
Right
you got
near the
you got the
beach.
palm trees blowing, you got your drink, it's vibes, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Welcome to paradise. Ah, there's nothing like the taste of paradise. Introducing Clearly Canadian, the perfect blend of sparkling water and natural fruit flavors, providing pure refreshment. Whether you're lounging on the beach, diving into the crystal clear waters, or simply soaking up the sun, Clearly Canadian is your passport. The sparkling water that takes you on a journey to the tropics, one sip at a time. Friends, here's to the good life. It's your ticket to paradise because it isn't just water.
It's Clearly Canadian.
Right near the beach. Oh,
Where in Jamaica are you from?
I think I'm
near
just.
the beach. little half baked.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. I want to talk to Samson.
Climbing to the mountains.
Doctor says I need a backiotomy.
So, boom, as Greg
Boom.
would say. We
Boom.
got a commercial.
Like you
Hell
to
yeah.
know that we call them our unofficial sponsor. We're trying really hard to get their attention.
Yeah. I applied to be a brand ambassador, and I haven't heard back just yet.
Well, I mean, if they don't take you on as a brand ambassador, you should just buy cases of it and blow it up. That's what I'd do.
Yeah. Tannerite.
I like it.
Just mag dump AKs into it.
Absolutely.
that's
That's actually a good idea.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Okay, gentlemen.
Well, sick.
What
That's about all I got. I think we're good to go. I mean,
Yeah.
that was definitely a damn good interview. I appreciate that.
Great
Dylan.
interview.
Yeah,
it
of
went
course.
well.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah,
Think you
Dylan,
covered everything
Thanks
you'd want
for
to
joining
cover?
us.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk for hours and hours about music. So I mean, I think I gave you the juiciest chunks.
No, yeah, and I kept like looking down at the time, being like, "Damn, time is flying."
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thanks,
Cool.
Dylan. We appreciate it so much taking the time. We're so grateful to have you on the show and other musicians like you just to take time out of their busy schedules. I know with touring, with writing, and then just with
Working.
life. Yeah, working. Just life. So thanks again for that. We look forward to more time hanging out in the future. We're really stoked to build this relationship and to grow and to just to be hopefully another voice for metal out there and for you guys as well. If there's ever anything that we can do to help you guys, if you ever want us to send anything out, let us know. We would love to.
Hey man, I appreciate that. And again, seriously, thank you for having me come on. I use this and just hang out with the boys and talk about metal for a little while. It was fun, man.
Oh yeah.
dude.
Perfect. Well, hey man, I appreciate it very much, guys.
Yeah.
Hey,
Thanks
absolutely.
again. Metal Block, over and out.
Later.
Later.
See you, blockheads.